Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome back to the ESA Season 7. My name is Piercing DN, as you guys surely have known. And we are back with Group C this time around. We weren't able to do it before. We had to push it back due to the major, but we're now back on track with this. We're going to be showing 3 matches for tonight, starting off with Molotov Gaming versus Tracker Clan here. Let's take a look at the standings real quick, because as of right now, these teams aren't the best in standing right at the moment. Currently, it's going to be, oh, that's a little outdated. See if it updates here. Give us just a second, folks. There we go. Yep. So right now, Molotov Gang, they're in the 4th position, but very still kind of contestable with a 3-point lead with Crown Zero and Underrated Esports at 0 and 2 points respectively. So both Tracker Clan and Molotov Gang for this first match are still in a comfortable positions, but positions that are still very comfortably contestable, as this is their Playday match 4. Group A has been done. They're finished. But as far as Group C is concerned, they still got this matchup as well as another matchup until their positions are locked. So still very contestable grounds. But considering we're having a similar situation to Group A, where the bottom 2 are really on a struggle bus, it's really hard to say how much the standing will switch. I mean, we did see actually an upset with Pulse Nation actually getting eliminated at the very last second, with Sevens Esport taking their spot for the 4th position, barely allowing them to squeeze into stage 2. So we could see a similar situation here, but we won't know what the stakes really are as far as locking things in until we are done with all of our matches for tonight. But so far, Underrated Esports still has a good shot, but Crown Zero, they're going to have to really pull something magical here if they want to really have a comeback here. But with that being said, let's take a look at our team cards here, see what players we've got and who will potentially be showing up for this matchup. Starting off with Molotov Gaming, we've got Shinji, Banks, Gorilla, Shizzy, Shinx, Dak, Kanan, and Tuzi. And then for Molotov Gang, their best map going to be on Chalet and their worst map on Skyscraper. Can't say I'm too surprised by that matchup. I mean, a lot of players, a lot of teams, especially those that are a bit more inexperienced, tend to struggle with Skyscraper. But looking at Tracker Clan, we have here Hidan, Akashi, Egan, Deyuko, Shizui, Eden. That name sounds very familiar. I feel like I just said that. Eden, Fergu, and Yanis with their best map on Cafe, and their worst map also on Skyscraper. Both of these teams really don't do well with Skyscraper, which I think is more of a specialty kind of thing. A lot of teams don't have the time to run a strat on a map like that. But despite that, let's go into the map bans, because I have a very interesting thing to announce for you. We are playing on Skyscraper, despite this being both teams' worst map. I can't say I saw that coming. Seriously, that I'm actually really surprised by that. They still got another group stage match after this. So to pull out a map like this, especially when it's both of their worst maps, really makes me question what was going on in the bans. Maybe trying to ban the more popular maps out the gate, try to get things their way. No, because we've got Clubhouse and Oregon as the last maps banned, with Skyscraper still on the board. That is so interesting. And I think that might possibly speak to one of the teams either having strats or really just trying to shake things up, hoping that in the midst of the chaos of playing a map they might not have as much experience in, one of the teams will be able to come out on top as a result. It's really hard to say, but this is very atypical for a map like this to show up with both teams struggling on a map like that, having lost it whenever they did play it. So I'm very surprised by that. Not something I would have expected there at all. But with that said, let's take a look at the social vote, see who we are predicting to be on top here. So far, a very heavy vote in favor of Molotov Gang here, 71 to 29%. Pretty strong favoritism for Molotov Gang, but honestly, I don't see it being that one-sided, especially on a map like this. I doubt we're going to see a steamroll here. Both of these teams struggle on Skyscraper. Both of these teams are not exactly at the top as far as standing goes. So, and I've watched these teams play, and they're kind of in the middle of the road. They're good. They're definitely not like at a level of violent aggression and attack that I would see as the call sign for a really good team. And in that regard, I don't think either teams quite have that. Because, like I said, that's, in my opinion, the trademark of a great team is how you can attack and how violent your attack is while still being coherent and successful. And I don't really think that either of these teams have that explosive force to them. So I think this is going to be a lot closer than the social vote would suggest here. But so far, still waiting for these remaining teams to get in. We're almost there. We still got 2 more players that we're waiting on for one of the teams, and then we'll be getting right into the match of Skyscraper. But so it'll be just a minute, and since they're taking a bit to load, we're going to go on a very quick break, let these players take their time to get in, and then we'll go straight into the match. Should only be a few minutes. We'll be right back. Apologies for the delays and the technical difficulties. We are very short-staffed today. All right, and welcome back, everyone. We are now ready to start the match. Molotov Gang versus Tracker Clan starting on Skyscraper. Remember, folks, like I said before, it's going to be a very interesting map as these are both teams' worst map. So anything really could go here. We could see a very messy game here going into double overtime, or we could see one team has figured something out, has figured out how to, get their strides together after playing it and could absolutely curb stomp the other team. And if that's the case, we'll probably see that happen for Molotov Gang based off of the very strongly or heavily favored vote in favor of them. But starting off with the bans, we will have a Nook ban. Nook can be a real problem on Skyscraper. There's a lot of nooks, get it? Crannies, corridors, hiding spots, and if you have a Nook creeping around waiting for you to pop your head up at the wrong time, she can definitely make things difficult. But we'll see a Monty ban as well, which I tend to see Blitz more than Monty, so I mean that's definitely an interesting ban, but I mean, I do see it. Definitely make things difficult in collapsing one front or the other. Because remember, the name of the game on Skyscraper is you don't necessarily want to ascertain full control of one front at the cost of the other, right? You want to push either the horizontal or the vertical just enough so you can't get contested from that front when you go to execute, right? You don't want to do a full horizontal or the vertical will crush you. Like, you can easily hold the sights from above or below. That's the problem. But we'll have a Solus ban, and then promptly after a zombie ban. So, semi-standard, except for the Monty. Although, I have been seeing more Monty bans. We might be able to pull up on some stats on how prominent Monty has been as a ban. But as he has been banned more often than I would have expected. But still not the most popular ban on... or as far as the main staples, the zombie, Solus, and Thatcher, Ying, that stuff like that. Well, actually, not even Thatcher really.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
I would say
bombs
more
as they can.
of the Nook than anything else. But starting off, we are going to be beginning in the T room, going for the standard site pick. So still making me question how familiar they are with these sites. But even with those who are more experienced, it is commonplace to go a site like this, because once you find that weakness in that defense and you're able to find how to successfully off-put them, it can be a bit easier to steamroll, just because making adaptations on a map like this against a good attack can be excruciatingly difficult. It really all comes down to how many strats you know, how well can you play those strats, how well can you modify them, and what does your playbook look like? I feel like Skyscraper is a very playbook heavy map. Because of the way this map navigates, you can set up some very intricate lines of sights here. Going to be starting off from the West Garden and from the Balk side. So a bit of a pinched push from Tracker Clan here. Going for the bathroom push from Shizui, but we do have one player. That's going to be our Mozzie player, Holy, 3K, sitting by the stairs. So far, just trying to hold off these runouts, which can be very commonplace on a map like this. There's a lot of emphasis on holding outside. One gonna get spotted by the stairs. Talon shield's gonna go out. Gonna try to push out this shield, but so far still relatively broken apart so far with how Tracker Clan is attacking at the moment. So they could potentially catch somebody out here. There is a roamer still out by first floor, or could potentially get caught out themselves. Here comes the first swing, the first gunfight with Goyo able to take out Shizui here. Fairly early pick, lost the heals. Not going to be ideal here, but not without a refrag from Sledge, able to get rid of Shinji here with smoke now down as well. A lot of activity or utility loss on Molotov Gang here. This could be a serious problem going forward. However, the reswing from Holy 3K contesting those main stairs, going to be able to get rid of Gridlock. That's going to be, or fuck, that's going to be some hard utility for Vert. Lost, however, not without Grid. Going to be able to finish out some work here. 1 minute and 27 seconds. Still not a lot of movement from above to try to take this site, but still have Osa sitting by the door. So a little bit more pressure. So it's not completely unaccountable, but not the greatest amount of pressure. Gonna take some feet shots here. Osa gonna be low on HP, but so is Smoke. Holy 3K gonna be able to take out Osa, recontest those grounds, and now that vertical component is gone. With everyone still on first floor, both Sledge and Grid, they're gonna have to force their way up the stairs. But with 55 seconds and now ample time for Molotov Gang to adjust here, it's gonna be very difficult for them to rebuild that momentum and still come out with a person advantage, especially with the limited utility. Both of them are out of nades. Sledge gonna get down due to that smoke, but Grid gonna be able to down one over by the stairs. However, still gonna have to push through that smoke, who was able to get rezzed, as well as Mozzie, but will get finished off. Smoke thanks to Grid, but with Mozzie still on the board, Umai at full HP, still gonna be a bit of a scary situation for her. However, starting to push out from the stairs, does spot the Mozzie, trying to go for a pre-fire here. Not going to be able to connect. 13 seconds left on the clock. She's got to push out from the door, but Wumai still holding there and will be able to finish her off with a clean headshot. Gridlock just got too many angles to deal with there. The funnel unbroken in favor of Molotov Gang as they take the first round. When I say that you don't want to leave one scope unpressured, this is kind of what I was talking about. But even beyond that, we saw a lot of kind of or I would say a lack of team play as far as playing close off of each other, cutting each other off or cutting off other players. What we saw a lot of for Molotov Gang is pretty much roaming that went completely unpunished, as Tracker Clan was pretty much all over the place. You had players over by bathrooms, stairs, black balcony. You had people trying to go up main stairs, and just a general sense of a lack of positional closeness. You know, whenever fights kind of went wrong, there wasn't really a fallback for Tracker Clan, while Molotov Gang had that fallback. I mean, we saw multiple reses from the downstate for Molotov Gang there to bring their teammates back up, but not really the same from Tracker Clan, especially when Shizui went down so early with a Finka. So making that kind of play of having everyone a bit more separate for the res even less effective, as you don't really have anything to, or you don't really have a way to revive your teammates unless you're in close proximity. And clearly that kind of more spread out approach backfired even harder just by losing Finka. Now, it's not a bad idea to have that. You know, if you're playing a bit more passive on your peaks, you get downed, right? You're covering your head. Oh, well, pop a Finka, you're back in the fight, right? But when you lose your Finka, that kind of doesn't work anymore. And even then, there's still a time between communicating, hey, I need a res, and you and the animation for getting back up to where you can easily get impacted. And now that Molotov Gang is tracking that Tracker Clan is using that kind of utility, I think we're going to see that more, that Molotov Gang is going to put a little bit of an extra emphasis on ensuring that when they get it down, that Tracker Clan's teammates cannot get back up. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. I mean, we still have Wamai on the impacts. I think Fenrir has impacts. I could be incorrect there.
Defenders,
Uh,
protect your bombs from being
I know
defused by
Mozzie's got
attackers.
his nitro, obviously. Oh, I'm mistaken. He's got Barb. So I mean, they do have impacts with Wamai to help finish that out. But
Attackers
honestly,
have
with
discovered
how
the location of
split
a bomb.
up Tracker Clan has been, based off of the first round, I really don't think they've got to worry about that too much. But I do want to point out that instead of moving on to, I believe it's statue room, we're going to be going to first floor kitchen, which usually is a lot more contestable in favor of the attackers,
10
because
seconds
even
left
if,
before insertion.
you know, you kind of collapse the horizontal or the vertical, like you can't
5
get
seconds
one of
to
those
insertion.
sections of control. It still only takes one roam attacker,
Attackers are heading out
rogue
to defuse
attacker
the
in the
bomb.
wrong spot to kind of tear apart that attack or that defense and force a plant. I mean, for goodness sake, there's literally a window right next to site. That's always going to be a bane for the defense without proper accountability. And other than Fenrir, there's not a whole lot to really hold that accountability. But if he's got a Fenrir on the window, we ain't got much to worry about. But if not, that could be a possible hop-in opportunity that could store a lot of chaos against Tracker or against Molotov Gang here. But I don't think we're going to see that. Instead, it looks like we're going to have a major focus on vertical and trying to fold that down. A little bit of pseudo pressure by the window, trying to, you know, force off some pressure onto the first floor. And if that's what they're going for, I hope they stick with it, because that relief is going to help a lot. But we are going to see Fenrir be able to take out Ace here very early on. However, not without a refrag promptly from Grid on the rappel there. 1 minute left. It's 2 picks, but still no folds whatsoever. They do have a little bit of real-time presence.
Attackers recovered
Actually,
the bomb
no, they
diffuser.
still have no building presence at the moment. Still holding out by the box. The nade's going to go out by the stairs, but Wamai will back up just in time, catching that cooking sound. Going to be able to stay or keep his head on the swivel there. Still able to contest those main stairs, and that's going to be vital for holding off this push into the vertical side of the building. Because right now, they have no actual in-person presence, mostly staying by the box and on the rappel. Great, going to take a lot of damage here, trying to hold out this breach here, but we will see Wamai able to finally knock out Finka, still holding onto stairs there. With a minute remaining, there's still no actual in-building presence. Tracker Clan's initial entry just failing so far, but we could possibly see that change very quickly as Dayuko has made his way all the way into drums. But with 50 seconds left, most of the defenders have already fallen off from second floor as they've stalled so much time, and they can still afford to keep one more to try to do some damage here, which I think we're going to see just that, as right now Tracker Clan still has no actual presence. And we'll even see Castle walk up as well, going to be able to get rid of Sledge. And with that, another pick from Wamai, and there's still no presence. The only person left is really Gridlock, just kind of sitting above the hatch, trying to figure out if she can possibly catch someone out, but instead she'll get caught out by the flank, thanks to Castle and Wamai with the impact and the swing out. Just no presence from Tracker Clan there, and Molotov Gang doing a great job of ensuring that they cannot get a step into the building. And even when they did, with Sledge kind of waltzing into drum, still getting flushed out thanks to that shrine flank. Tracker Clan has nothing to work with here. I don't think we're going to see a steamroll. I think we're going to see a potential 6-0, because right now, they can't even make progress. It's one thing that you can't really identify a weakness and you're just losing these because you're not really pushing a gap in the defense. It's more like they just have no grounds to play with right now. There's nothing, right? And I think that's the biggest issue, is every time Tracker Clans tries to get initial entry, they don't have one. They might be able to get a pick from, you know, someone from Molotov Gang trying to kind of trying to deny them that entry, but they don't need to do that because Tracker Clan won't go in. I mean, how many people did we still see out and about, out on rappel, out somewhere other than in the building a minute and 30 seconds in? Because from my eyes, that was like half the team there. And you cannot have that many people outside when you have no horizontal presence and you have no actual pressure in the building? Do you think that a defense team is going to be intimidated by that? Unless you're on consulate pre-rework. No, that's not, you can't do that. That only works on smaller maps. Oh, no. Goyo with the run out from the breach. That is so ratty. Keeping the breach open to run out. But I gotta say, that was such a good run out, though. Maverick was not ready at all. And Finko just bursting right in to take out Mozzie in turn here. Looking a little bit better on their initial entry. At least they have some kind of presence here rather than none. They do have this west side of hallway control here. Gonna be able to start pushing in a little bit more now, but I still want to point out that there's still a Nitro on the board. That's gonna be Mira, and she could do a lot of damage here if they're not ready. Still a player from below that is completely uncontested, and I have a bad feeling that this uncontested presence is gonna backfire in the future or very soon when they try to go for a plant here. Shrine player gonna get caught out, but will still be able to fall away or fall back, not taking a hit of damage, not getting caught out. But we will see Sledge able to catch out Mira here, and that's gonna be their last Nitro now off the board. Still gotta push, still got long ways to go before they even get close to sight here. With 1 minute and 15 seconds, still trying to push past the waiting room area, which is a major choke point for the attackers here. We're gonna see a little bit of an attempted push from Grid, taking some heavy sustained damage, but Ace gonna actually get knocked out from a headshot in turn. Gonna try to see an attempted refrag, gonna be able to successfully catch it, but another player doing some massive damage to Gridlock, barely alive, but still stuck in a corner, but with multiple picks coming out on the front with Molotov Gang way overcompensating to deny this control. It's now all up to Warden here, sustaining massive unfavorable exchanges. Molotov Gang against Tracker Clan, but gonna be able to pick up one before getting shortly caught out by Finka to finish the job here. And she does a full wraparound from office to display. Warden didn't really have much options there other than to stand his ground by main. But I mean, they did Tracker Clan, what they did really well here this time around was they were able to actually get themselves some presence, and when they pushed out, they were able to heavily punish Molotov Gang when they kept overswinging to try to shut them down. And this is something that Tracker Clan does well. They're able to stand their grounds favorably. When it comes down to getting in the building, not so much, but at least this time it was a bit different. They were able to stand their ground, hold their positions, wait for Molotov Gang to kind of overswing and overpush, and then capitalize on that and create an opening and just further wiggle their way in, hold, take a pick, wiggle their way in, hold, pick. And all of a sudden, it's now a 1v3 with Warden getting stomped out. And I think this is what will give Tracker Clan a better chance. They just have to not play so passive. If they can not play passive and continue to slowly creep their way in like they did last round, then they are going to be at great odds, especially if Molotov Gang just swings themselves to death, which I think we saw a lot of their trying to snuff out this push, trying to get more impact, and it just didn't happen. I mean, the positioning wasn't there, the aim wasn't there, the timing, whatever it may have been, they just simply lost that fight, right? And lost the fight so much so that they were in a very bad situation. Tracker Clan doing a better job of holding down their fortifications against Molotov Gang's counteroffensive. And now, what we're going to see, back to second floor over by T-Room. When we first saw this, Tracker Clan was not looking too hot when they attacked this site, but we could possibly see a different story, especially since T-Room is so close to Baux and Windows and all of the like. We could see a very different story here and a much improved situation for them in attacking this. Now they know how they're going to play it, and they've kind of found their their style, how they're going to play this out. They found what works and how to push out, which is just hold your fortifications and slowly push in. But I do see a little bit of overzealousness from Jizui here, pushing out very deep into Shrine. Although she does have a bit of cover, will be able to take Goyo out though. Maybe not a little bit overzealous, as she does get that impact and it does pay off. Mozzie gonna be able to catch one, trying to lurk clear from waiting room. That's gonna be a major pick in favor of Molotov Gang, but without a Nitro, his vertical presence isn't going to be exactly as scary, especially now that all Nitros have been cleared out thanks to losing Goyo as well. And speaking of losses, Yana Chizui for a double kill, going to be able to take Ramai as well. 1 minute remaining, and the pressure is starting to stack on with Molotov Gang at an unfavorable position, but Tracker Clan still has some major funnels to push through, but they're not going to need to push through these funnels if they keep pushing aggressively here against Tracker Clan, which is what we keep seeing. Although Holy 3K will be able to take out yet another player here, I don't think it's going to be enough here. Though we do have smoke on the shotgun here, trying to deny this push, but the very fast and tight peek out to shotgun another. Tracker Clan still struggling to get out of this funnel. They've got to push back past this death trap, and they're just not able to do it. The nade trying to go out, but the swing. However, we will see the nade go through, pick one off post-death, and the pick from Yana to finish it off. A very close round for Tracker Clan to barely win it out. I mean, that post-death nade actually ended up saving them the round, being able to clear out that smoke who was causing such a trouble in getting into T-room. Such a great swing. And then rotating around from Yana. Great plays from Tracker Clan. We are going to have to pause as we are currently missing a player right now. But this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Molotov Gang's struggle. They keep aggressing onto Tracker Clan when they are holding these angles down, and they're not winning. They are swinging themselves to death. They are forcing these kind of pocket positions that are not working favorably, right? The whole point of off angles is to catch the enemy off. This is how more aggressive teams opt to defend as a counteroffensive. Take an off angle, push up, and when the fortifications of the attacking side are thrown off, and just continue to take blows at the attack until you are inevitably refragged. But that's not what's happening. Tracker Clan is doing their due diligence in clearing out these positions from Molotov Gang and snuffing out these off angles, and Molotov just keeps consistently losing these off angle fights. They need to play more consistently and play more reliable positions and cross angles instead of opting for off angle after off angle after off angle, because Tracker Clan already sees them coming and takes their time, and that's where they get punished. They're not playing this right. They're not playing timing to their advantage. They're not using their cross angles like they should. They're relying too heavily on cutoffs, or I'm sorry, on choke points, and they're relying too heavily on these off-pick kind of plays. And we're going to see, or off-angle kind of plays, and we're going to see another one of those with Doc peeking the same breach that we saw last time. Still going to suffer major damage from Grim. This is what I'm talking about, folks. They keep doing the same off-angle stuff, and it's not paying off. Now you got a wall that's wide open that they could walk in at any time, and you're not going to know other than a Volt sound. And that's just going to be another opening that was just given to Tracker Clan for free as a result of continuing to try to do these off-angle plays, and they're not paying off time and time again. This is what Molotov needs to stop doing. Otherwise, they're going to continue to lose rounds as Tracker Clan snuffs them out and punishes them severely. But we do see Wamai holding by the wall, trying to do the same thing. No way he gets away from it. Although we don't usually see... Oh, I was going to say, we don't usually see continued persistence on the off angle, but it doesn't matter. Tracker Clan still doing their due diligence to take out another player, holding that same angle that has been played now 3 times. Still not working. I'm telling you, and I'm willing to bet money, we're going to see Doc swing out, and it's going to get taken out right then and there, trying to get bold to contest waiting room. And right now, Tracker Clan playing this so well over by Lounge, taking their time. And the thing I want to say is that there's not a strong vertical presence from either team. So even though typically you want to try to control those fronts, and vertical is so strong for defense, Tracker Clan doesn't need to worry about that because Molotov isn't really taking advantage of it. So so far, the horizontal front is really the only front that matters, unless you have the occasional nitro or something like that, but it's not going to really deny anything. They don't really have a massive emphasis on it. Going to be able to take out that utility, making their shrine push just a little bit easier. And there it is. There's the angles that are going to kill off Molotov here. When they get this hold and Tracker Clan starts to get bold, that's where the collapse really starts. But so far, we are seeing Molotov not buying it. They're not taking the bait like they have in the past. They still kind of did with those off angles, but so far they're not really giving Tracker Clan much to work with, and we really haven't seen how Tracker Clan handles their executes. But we will see some exchanges back to back. Mozzie gonna be able to take out another, as well as Grim, another favorable pick for Iana here, and another one as Mozzie goes down. Now 1v4. I kind of expected this to be a little bit different, thanks to Molotov holding out, but it doesn't really matter. They still get flushed out, and now Fenrir trying to make something happen, but gets cut off by Iana. Shot from the back, over by Karaoke. Rotate, as Tracker Clan takes yet another round here. I guess that kind of answers the question of how they execute. They've got a pretty good execute. I mean, they got in, and they got that plant down. That's not just Molotov, you know, getting flushed out here, or I'm sorry, kind of flushing themselves out by holding off angles and continuing to aggress on a locked up Tracker Clan. No, this was a full-blown execute that Tracker Clan had initiated over by Drum to get a plant down and push into Karaoke or Tea Room to get a plant down, and they did exactly that. They accomplished their goal with the diffuser down. That was a full-blown execute. And now we know the answer to that question. Can Tracker Clan execute? And the answer is absolutely, because that is exactly what they just did. And now this puts a very scary precedent for Molotov, because now they know not only are they getting snuffed out by using these off angles, but they are on top of that failing to deny the executes when they come down. When the execute starts to ramp up and Tracker Clan takes the initiative, they don't win. So now the question for Molotov gang at this point is, what do we do from here? Because we've tried to stall out, wait for the execute. That didn't work. We tried to take the aggression to them. That didn't work. What are we supposed to do? And we see the run out, trying to take that initiative, but Gridlock ready for the run out, able to take that out immediately. And this is what Tracker Clan does so well. They play off of each other and they cover each other in their vulnerable positions. They are not letting Molotov get their way as far as these kind of plays, and it is causing them a lot of problems. And even Blitz, right? It would look like a perfect opportunity for him to run right in, but he is waiting for his team to cover for him before really going in. Tracker Clan's team play is so strong right now, and Molotov just doesn't know what to do because they know individual plays, but they're not paying off. However, we will see Holy 3K able to take one, take two, getting a lot of damage onto these teams here. Another double kill as we see a violent exchange here with both teams suffering heavy losses, but ultimately still evening out. And this is what I'm talking about. Even when Molotov does get a very fortunate violent exchange like we just saw there, the best that they can do is even things out. They're still not at an advantage. However, I will state that there is a unique problem that could give Molotov the edge if they play correctly. Tracker Clan does not, or never mind, they just grabbed the diffuser. I was about to say they didn't have it, and Fenrir still holding close, could have taken huge advantage of that, but we're not going to see that be the case. But we will see a little bit of swings from the hatch, though. Not almost getting caught out, Fenrir, thanks to Finka, but still able to get away. Sledge trying to finish the job to catch him, but with Fenrir all the way down by Sushi Bar, that's not going to be the case. However, Barbie's going to get away with his position. Still able to catch out Finka here. Going to run all the way back. 55 seconds on the clock. Still plenty of time for Sledge to make a move here. And with Diffuser in hand, still very winnable. But opting for a vertical still, trying to see if he can find another before having to drop down to hatch or approach site. It's not going to be the case. Throws a nade, trying to catch off Fenrir, but it will not pay off. Throws a nade, but Fenrir sticks his ground, waiting for the drop. Nice little teabag at the end there, too. I mean, it wasn't a bad idea trying to use that nade, but honestly, I feel that if he'd cooked it for about maybe 2 to 3 seconds, then threw that nade, he would have been long gone. Or if he still stood his ground, that would have been a straight up pick. But that's just me, right? You know, foresight or hindsight is 2020, or however they say that saying. I'm not very good with sayings, but regardless, you know, very good effort from both of the teams. I mean, Sled really almost making a comeback there for that round, but unfortunately, just not a whole lot to do when you're still stuck above and you're kind of running out of time. And you kind of needed your teammate to kind of, you know, help displace just enough for you to kind of get in position to plant, but that just ended up not happening. So good on Molotov for finally making that comeback after, you know, fully committing, not just like these little standoff 1v1s off angle crap that we'd seen from Molotov, but actually fully committing to a full frontal counteroffensive and clearly making that pay off in favor of them. Also, did they just reinforce the karaoke rotate? Did I just see that? I did not just see that. I think I did. Okay, what is Tracker Clan cooking here? I haven't played Siege in a while, so maybe it's changed, but from what I remember, reinforcing that rotate is a pretty big no-no unless you have an extensive crossfire to cut off stairs, which I hope that they have that. Otherwise, once they get into Tea Room, it's going to be very hard to karaoke, it's going to be very hard to recontest it. Alright, we're going to start to see this push into exhibition from Molotov. A very fast push here as they start to make their way and already set off those flank watches very early on. Not even a minute, and they've already covered a pretty significant portion of the eastern front here. But kind of the problem is that's not really where anyone is, so it is kind of a given, but at least they're not wasting a massive amount of time, you know, trying to hold that space safely. As right now, Tracker Clan playing this a bit more passive. They do have a player over by Drum, but he's going to be in for a Rude Awakening in a second. The Ying's coming in, defend rear, cutting him off, but not before Ying is able to catch him out before it's too late. Gonna try to look for another here, but now has that drums control, but eventually gets shut down by the Jaeger there with Thorn on the clapback as well for a 2K here, doing some massive damage as Molotov just runs right into Tracker Clan's crossfire, waiting for the right moment to strike and then nipping the attack in the butt, and that's what they did. The run out as well from Thorn, a little bit of a gap in the flank watch, and does so much damage in taking yet another player. And now it's all up to Grid, who gets shotgunned out by Backstairs. Molotov had a lot of momentum there, and their ability to push forward was great, but it was unfunneled and it was kind of unrelenting in the wrong way. Because what we saw was Ying continue to push on when her teammates were far behind. They didn't have her back. She got wiped out. And then we saw two flank around from Tracker Clan completely unaccounted for. And that move made massive waves of damage in destroying their attack. Molotov Gang relied heavily on Grid and the flank watch utility to pretty much play the flank watch game for them, while they pretty much attacked with unrelenting force. But what they didn't account for was the wraparound through the balcony, and they definitely did not account for one of their own teammates kind of going rogue and pushing up way beyond the control that they had just gained. Because Drum, don't get me wrong, was huge control, and they took that very well. But then they extrapolated that control and tried to bite way more than they can chew, and it shows from how badly it went after they got that control. Everything just flipping at the hit of a switch, you know what I mean? The flip of a switch and everything goes wrong, and they completely lose out there, being at a significant man disadvantage there. Well done on Tracker Clan to spot out this over-aggression and punish it, especially with that two-person flank. That kind of team play that Tracker Clan is doing is what's going to ultimately keep shutting down Molotov Gang here, because the team play from Molotov is just not there, as they keep trying to go for these individual plays and trying to capitalize off some hidden advantage that doesn't really exist, or they try to make exist but instead turns into a disadvantage. So, and I think that is going to be a recurring pattern for the remainder of this first match, as we already have Holy 3K pushed right into Closet here, trying to nade from below. to help open something up or try to catch someone, but there's really not a lot there. So not really sure what they're trying to go for here with having a Sledge all alone in closet trying to do vert, because the intel's not there of where they are, and if it is, it should be telling him that there's nobody there. Oh, but they are going to spot out the mirror and to try to get that mirror taken out. Still trying to vert to either confirm or catch that mirror, but so far not being able to get it so far. The nade from another going to be able to take out Mira here. Finka also holding below, will be able to get rid of Mira. That's going to be a massive loss to Tracking Clan, as that's one less Nitro they have on the board. Duco still with Nitro in hand, and now with that wall getting more opened up, they do have a walkway into side, but still opting to repel. We have Wamai trying to aggress here to contest that repel, not going to be successful, take on no damage here. And then we have Twitch here holding out, trying to get some kind of control. T and Karaoke all alone, but with Fenrir and both Bandit, this could look very bad here. We're going to see Wamai able to get rid of Gridlock here, and I don't think Twitch is going to do well here either. All the way enshrined, although Sledge is with them, but I think they're going to be getting caught out very soon, and it doesn't seem like they know exactly where Fenrir is, but being caught in the corner, he has to take this pick or he is gonna be done for. The Fenrir going off, he's gonna be able to take one here. There's still another over by Drum Room. That's gonna be Finka, could possibly take another, still stuck in the corner though. He doesn't have a way to get out, and they know exactly where he is. And here comes the wide swing. He's gonna be able to counter swing. He does not, able to get a little bit of damage, but Twitch will be able to finish him off, along with Ace to take yet another, as we now move down to a 3v2. Bandit gonna take a lot of heavy damage here. Tracker Clan trying to commit to deny this control, but it is not paying off. We see yet another pick from Twitch and Ace to finish the job with 2-2Ks respectively, as they collapse in from the balcony front to finish the job. Every time I see Molotov do something quite wrong, then they come in with a sweep and do something quite right. I think the key word for Molotov here is inconsistency. I think that's kind of what's going on here. We kind of see a lot of these hints of individualism where we have a player kind of just do whatever they want and then it costs them heavily, right? But when they play together, like they did there, and Tracker Clan just doesn't know what to do. I mean, it is very clear that it is a night and day kind of difference, because we're now starting to see Tracker Clan do exactly what I said Molotov needed to stop doing. I mean, Fenrir holding out on his own by Drum, no cutoff, or I'm sorry, no rotate, no way out, no hats drop, nothing. No way to escape, kind of holding this angle, hoping that he can, you know, take one. He does get one, but, and that's because of a missed drone, right? A drone that got shot out before it was able to be seen. They thought it was from waiting room. It wasn't. But after that refrag, then Tracker Clan tried to capitalize off of what was very clearly a free pick. And when you go for picks like that, you know someone's going to be close by for a re-swing, because that's the only way you can get any impact out of their death. And Tracker Clan should have known better, but apparently not, because they still lost yet another player after Fenrir. And it's these kind of invisible opportunities is what I'm calling it. There's invisible opportunities that these teams think are there that just aren't. And then they kind of turn what they thought was an advantage that I'm not seeing into a massive disadvantage. Gonna be able to poke a repel line of sight onto the wall, but not going to be able to open it all the way. Although, granted, I don't think that's exactly what Molotov Gang was exactly trying to go for here. I think they were more opting simply just to have that, or a line of sight there, so that Tracker Clan will not be able to just sit comfortably over by that office side of the site. Now starting to get that wall open, but with the impacts going through as well, the bit of opening going to cause a bit of a headache here for Molotov to try to get this wall open. The nade going out from Finkel. Once again, got to be able to take out that mirror window. This has been a problem that has been affecting Tracker Clan, is these mirrors constantly getting taken out, but not before we see Dayuko going to be able to get rid of the Holy 3K, probably for a solo play there, and that's going to be a massive loss of utility, not having that Flores anymore. A lot of utility loss. We're going to see a swing from Mira. Going to be able to take Thatcher, who's pretty much right next to site right now, and he's moved very deep into office here. It's not looking good, as pretty much Molotov is just waltzed in for little to no punishment here, as Thatcher is just still sitting on the site. With the Ying coming in to help close the gap with him, for her and her teammate, it's not looking very good for Tracker Clan as they scatter with the plant now going down. They're gonna have to make something happen here, and I don't think that's gonna happen as they get snuffed out thanks to Finka and Thatcher here covering for the plant. However, we see Fenrir is not done, but still gets caught out when he peeks his head over the desk. I mean, where did they come from? Molotov just kind of walked right into sight, and Tracker Clan was clearly caught off guard. I mean, once Ying spotted that opportunity, and that was a real opportunity. Knowing that Thatcher was on site was a huge opportunity. They were clearly displaced, trying to figure out how the hell did he get here? Where are they coming from? How do we deal with this and still maintain our defense? Ying came up main stairs and abused that situation beautifully by throwing even more mayhem into the mix, by throwing some candelas, rendezvousing with Thatcher, and then snuffing them out from the room surrounding office and getting a plant down. And creating an opening for the rest of the team to walk in and finish and starting execute. That really should have never happened, if you ask me. I really don't know how Thatcher was able to just walk in there, but still, he noticed a gap and was able to take full advantage of it, and to huge effect, allowing Molotov Gang to now actually take a lead away from Tracker Clan that they had previously been holding up to this point until the 3-3 split, and now they are back on top with a 1-point lead here. One more round, and we will be seeing the match point. So a very good turnaround for Molotov Gang here, but like I said, the problem has been consistency, and that was a very good stroke. I don't want to say stroke of luck, but a very good opportunity that they spotted out and were able to take out to great effect. Molotov Gang and both Tracker Clan are good teams, but it just really comes down to consistency for Molotov Gang that's going to set them apart. But we will be able to see Shinji able to get a very early pick onto Thorn here, take a lot of damage onto Frost as well, who is just struggling to get out of there as much as possible. But Molotov Gang is not giving in, trying to get rid of Frost however they can. But unfortunately, not going to be able to do just that, but still dealing massive damage. I mean, you could throw a flashbang at her and she'll probably be downed, which, fun fact, if you throw a flashbang at an enemy, it will do exactly 1 point of damage, if I'm not mistaken. So, but what I'm getting at is Frost is very low HP, and they dealt devastating damage to her, which is going to make her very hesitant to swing out here, especially unless she has an ITA as her secondary, that shoddy secondary. She's going to be in very unfavorable conditions when it comes to taking gunfights. But despite that, we are going to see her take one on the door, but not before Finka promptly gets a refrag there, is able to catch one. Twitch able to get rid of Fenrir here. Now up to Jaeger and Smoke, who was kind of exposed there, but was able to fall back. Jaeger is going to be able to catch one by Geisha. It's now looking a little rough here as she gets barely caught out, with Twitch finishing the job as well. Both of them just barely spotted out from these walls or these soft walls. Molotov Gang just very rapidly spotting out each of them among the rubble of the gunfighting to finish them out. As now we move on to match point with Molotov. I think they've now caught their consistency as they are attacking. They have a very explosive attack right now with the way that they are rapidly gaining control and pushing out Tracker Clan in ways that they just cannot foresee or even deal with. The team play is starting to come back. They had a rough start, but now they are in it to win it, and Tracker Clan just doesn't really know what to do. We're starting to see kind of a lot of kind of unfocused counteroffensives from Tracker Clan, but it's not paying off. It's not paying off, right? And because Molotov, I feel like, just straight up is the better attacker here, they don't have to worry about taking it slow, right? That was the difference. Tracker Clan, when they picked up their rounds, they pretty much played it slow and waited for Molotov to kind of make a mistake here. But the problem is, Molotov Gang, at least to a lesser extent, is not waiting for Tracker Clan to make a mistake. They are making the first move. And Tracker Clan just doesn't really know what to do about that, especially as they face a lot of unfavorable rounds here, with the last two being straight up total losses with significant man difference. And this is their last chance to figure something out. If I had to call the timeout, I probably would have called timeout for Tracker Clan here, but still opting to continue to play it out anyway. This is their last chance if they want to win this out. But look at that. You got three players all in the same place, all droning out together and gaining so much information to allow them to push all the way up to drum with no contest at all. This is exactly what Molotov needed to be doing from the beginning, and they're doing it so well, gaining all that information so fast, and now they are right at their doorstep with not even a minute to the round. But we are going to see Ace take some significant damage here, trying to help push out Drum Room, but we will see that initial push thanks to Zofia. The shield going down at the same time. Great coordination from Molotov to take the shield and push simultaneously. Molotov is a bullet train that will not be stopped anytime soon. And with that, we'll see Shizui go down as well. Smoke trying to contest the head height holes here, but I think we're going to see Twitch back up as she doesn't really have teammates with her at the moment. Fenrir going to be able to successfully revive Frost, but not without paying the price of losing his life in turn, with Frost at low HP as well. Not looking too good, but we will see Smoke able to catch Twitch here, take another onto the head eye holes, using those angles to his advantage, and he gets a triple kill. Pay attention to Smoke. What are you doing here? He's able to take 3 Ks with no problem, but he's going to have to pull out on one more pick to finish this out with Shinji over by Restaurant Stairs, as she is the last one alive. Smoke being completely unaccounted for, and I mean suffering heavy losses as they just kept running into his head heights of terror, and he took every single one of them. And now it's all up to Finka to try to make something happen, but with being stuck on main stairs and as many angles as they have on her, I don't think she really has a chance here. 37 seconds left on the clock, and they were looking so good on their execute. But then they just had no accountability for Smoke. Twitch basically did her own thing, tried to push out against Smoke, got obliterated, and then everyone just kept lining up for him at the perfect time. Every time he reloaded, to just keep taking fight after fight. And with that, we see Frost, who was rezzed at the life of Fenrir, paid that res off by finishing off Finka here. And now, still at match point, Molotov is starting to grow inconsistent yet again, and with Tracker Clan still able to take that approach of, you know, wait for the team to make a mistake and then kind of rip that wound open, right? It's still going to be close because you can only get so far when you have to play off that mentality, especially when you are on the defense. The attack, that's kind of the whole point. You find an opening and you dig in, right? Kind of like a parasite digging into your skin, right? That's what the attackers are to the defense. A parasite that can either just, you know, not even really breach the skin, or it can get in, it can fester, and it can destroy your insides. Kind of like how attackers destroy ability. That is a very gross example that I just gave, but the point still stands, right? That the attacker's effect can vary greatly depending on how much they can really dig into an opportunity that they see. So for Tracker Clan to be dependent on, you know, waiting for Molotov to make a mistake and then play off of that, rather than just having a solid defense that Molotov has to really, you know, work around to try to find an opening. Nice damage onto your teammate. I mean, that's kind of what is, I think, gonna result in them losing this match, because I don't think, unlike last time where Molotov gave it a big opening with Smoke in how they played that, I don't think we're going to see that same opening show up again. Or at least, I would hope not, because the fact that no one refragged that Smoke when all of that was going down was quite ridiculous. I gotta be honest, that was really weak on Molotov's end, and very well done on the Smoke player for Tracker Clan to punish that to such an extreme extent here. So, at least for Molotov's sake, I hope that they don't fix, or they do fix that, because that is not a way to go out. That should not have happened at all. But they will be able to get that office line of sight again. Not going to use that as a vaultable. I think that's probably for the better here to keep it like that. because that could be a really nasty run out, and it's very hard to prevent someone from running out from that, especially if you don't have a nomad, which up to this point, neither team has
Bomb
really been
located by
opting to
attackers.
play for it here. With a minute and 45, we do have Flores below, another player with them. Still going to try to send out a Flores drone and get some information on where these players are, or at least 2 people below. Nading as well, but nades aren't going to see any impact. So far, not a whole lot happening here. Trying to get rid of utility from below, but so far, they're doing exactly what Tracker Clan is, which is having very little actual presence or pressure. I mean, we got 2 players still outside and then 3 below, but really nothing as far as actually pushing them in any way, shape, or form. And this isn't the kind of push that Molotov usually goes for here, but we will see Fenrir able to snipe off Ace here with a very well-placed headshot, holding those tight angles. And another one from Jaeger able to get rid of Flores here. I think we're going to see an overtime situation as Molotov just falls apart. They do not have the ability to hold their angles as well as Tracker Clan does on attack. And it clearly shows with how many free picks Tracker Clan was able to take onto Molotov here from these passive angles that Molotov is desperately trying to hold here. And with that, we will see another pick onto Shizui from Shinji here, but I don't think that's going to be enough here. With 30 seconds left and nobody in the building, they have to fight some very nasty cutoffs that Tracker Clan I don't think is a give to them. But we will see a run out from there. I would not have expected that, as Fenrir able to take yet another, and now it's all up to Thatcher, who has absolutely nothing to work with here. 13 seconds left on the clock. That's a hot through a very dangerous funnel, but able to take one, but just not quite able to finish out Wamai, who was still lit from the beginning of the round, mind you. And with that, we will be moving on to overtime as Molotov's inconsistency continues to nip them, and Tracker Clan takes that and is able to exploit it to be able to keep themselves alive. I'm going to be honest, I really don't know who's going to win. I don't know if it's going to be the team that depends on mistakes in order to win their rounds, or it's going to be the team that is very inconsistent. Both teams have their weaknesses, and pretty much it's a matter of who can manipulate the other's weakness better. Molotov Gang has really good attacks, right? Very good attacks as far as their ability to violently and quickly take control, but they tend to be inconsistent and have individuals spring up that causes steamrolling damage, while Tracker Clan, they're very good at shutting down these little bits or at shutting down aggression, holding their grounds, and really not giving the opportunity to dig in when they're attacking, you know, preventing a counteroffensive from Molotov. But I tell you what, they kind of struggle beyond that. That's really all they have, you know, kind of going for them. They start to go for these, you know, plays that just don't really work out much at all. So it's hard to say who's really gonna come out on top here. It's gonna be a close match because both teams have had opportunities to really keep their momentum and finish it out, but both teams have been unsuccessful. Although granted, it was Molotov who ended up being at match point, but they just really can't seem to get it together long enough to finish it out. And as long as they continue to make these bold mistakes and Tracker Clan can consistently punish them, which they do, it's just, that's really what it is. Does Molotov give Tracker an opening? That's pretty much the question we have to ask. And if they don't, Tracker Clan loses this 100% because they really cannot push out against a well-coordinated Molotov. But they don't have to, because usually Molotov gives them a mistake, a screw-up. And then that's where Tracker plays their entire focus around. Speaking of flank watch from before, we do have Nomad on, or Holy 3K on the Nomad, which good adaptation, I would say, because considering how Molotov likes to push very aggressively, having something that will more physically stop them instead of allowing someone to slowly, meticulously sneak up, I think is going to be a better counter. And we will be able to see one get a pick onto the Fenrir here, taking him out very early on. Well, not very early on, with a minute and 20 seconds remaining. Still a lot of outside presence from Molotov Gang here. They still haven't yet to get into the building, but considering how close they are to bomb site and how spread spread out Tracker Clan is here. I don't really know what they're doing. I think we're going to see something magical here with Amaru primed and ready to go for Repel, and with Mira down and Reborn taking significant damage, I think it's just a matter of time before we see that Gara hook, or maybe not, as we do see a little bit of retaliation here from Wamai. There's a lot of potential here for a push-up, but with Hibana gone and everyone else over by Shrine side, it looks like Amaru's going to instead opt to try to rendezvous, push up the stairs. I was hoping we'd see something insane there, but instead, we see a bit of overzealousness from Molotov, and with Tracker Clan heavily punishing that. Even after Molotov Gang was able to get a lot of control there, they just opt not to make that play, and clearly it didn't pay off. A lot of individual pushing, not really paying off here. Shinji able to take one more, but I don't think he's going to be able to carry this momentum forward, as he still has 13 seconds left on the clock. Try to take the plant down here. All it takes is one gap in his clearing, and it's over. Not going to be able to spot the Mira here. Another player by the headite holes. Going to try to take some shots here, try to clear somebody out, but runs out of time. Nobody able to pick anybody off here. Whiff after whiff. Goodness. Goodness. And with that, Tracker Clan takes the round, now turning it around from a potential game loss now to overtime match point in favor of Tracker Clan. But here's the thing though, like I said before, Tracker Clan tends to struggle when it comes to how they attack. They're very slow. And sometimes getting in the building is the hardest part for them. And we saw that earlier in the game. And if they just cannot manage to walk in or get in the building, then obviously Molotov Gang will take this. But considering the overzealous nature of Molotov Gang, thus far taking a lead and turning it into a series of unfortunate mistakes, I'm not really confident of how this round is going to turn out. I very well do believe that Tracker Clan can finish this match for, I wouldn't say an upset, but definitely going against what most people have expected. We've been seeing that quite a lot. A lot of teams losing that was voted in to win. I mean, we saw that yesterday with Pulse Nation versus 7 Esport. I mean, we were expecting Pulse Nation to win out by a major vote. I think it was like 83%, but they still managed to somehow lose to 7 Esport on the second half. And I think we could possibly see that here, as it's clearly shown that Tracker Clan is able to stand their ground, but it really depends on whether or not Molotov Gang is able to get their stuff together, because this is what happens whenever they have a disadvantage. Molotov Gang will usually lock it up and give Tracker Clan no grounds here. But the thing is, they are on the defense, not the attack. And usually this is where we have problems, because we've seen Tracker Clan can execute very well once they are able to get into the building and are able to get ready for an execute. But the problem is, are they going to be able to do that though? Are they going to get that opportunity? And that is a question that I cannot answer, at least until the end of this round. And with a minute already gone, so far, most of Tracker Clan still outside, playing very passively here, not making a single move yet. We do have Diego below, trying to nade out or do something here, but still not really making a move. And since they're on off the side, it's going to be a little bit harder for Tracker Clan, as both teams have struggled to attack this site here. 1 minute 35 seconds. They know that there's a player on main stairs, but so far we're not seeing like I said, we're seeing a lot of passive play from Tracker Clan, and this is what lost them the last, or tends to lose them rounds on attack, is this passive play, and it's already backfiring. Holy 3K gonna be able to catch out Finka, which is very unfortunate, because usually when they play this passive, they are able to consistently win their fights when holding angles, but not this time. Finka still lost that fight, and that is a huge loss. Gridlock trying to take out this Bow player, barely able to tap him on that very tight angle. Nice shot there. Able to even numbers a little bit, but with a minute remaining and still absolutely zero control on second floor here, it's not looking good. It's looking really bad. Molotov Gang has succeeded in holding them back. But, however, they are giving openings again with Ayuko able to take out another player here. This is not looking good. If they still keep giving ones here and over-aggressing on these angles, we could very well see Tracker Clan take this back last second. And with a 1v4, they're doing just that! They just gave multiple picks away to Tracker Clan, and now they have the ability to swarm in. What just happened? You had the control. You denied everything. The time was running out, but you just gave your lives away. And with that, Tracker Clan wins. What an upset. That is not the way that you want to lose a match like that. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is a real upset. I mean, Molotov Gang had it all. They had a good attack. I mean, they were able to solidly hold that defense, but then they just fell apart. This is what kept happening for Molotov Gang. This is what they lacked. They lack consistency. If Molotov Gang is going to keep their high standing, they cannot let this happen again. I mean, consistency. I've said this over again, but Molotov Gang just could not get it. They always had to have one or two or maybe even three players go and do their own thing, and then Tracker Clan catches wind of this and then punishes it heavily. They cannot make these plays work. It has not worked, and every time that this has happened, it results from Molotov Gang having a strong advantage and then turning into a losing situation. And unfortunately for Molotov Gang, despite them playing attack, I would say better than Tracker Clan here, they just could not get that under control. And Tracker Clan, being the opportunistics that they are, was able to punish that with spectacular degrees of success. Although when Molotov was playing more consistently towards the beginning, it was not looking good for them because they could not find that opening to turn things around. But towards the end, Molotov just kept giving and giving and giving. And boy, did Tracker Clan eat that all up to win themselves a very close game there. Well done to Tracker Clan. Congratulations as you get moved up in the standing. Molotov Gang, you played your best. Your attack was good, but you got to play consistent, because if this keeps up, there's still another matchup for you guys over in this grouping. I'd be a little worried. I would seriously kind of take a look at this and figure out how to kind of lock it up, because your attack is good, but your consistency is not. All right. With that being said, we've still got two more matches for you tonight. Up next, we have Crown Zero versus Wii Sports. Ooh, that's going to be a little messy, but who knows? We could see a massive upset there, just like we did with Molotov Gang versus Tracker Clan. So with that being said, we're going to go on break very quick. We'll be right back, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, and welcome back to the ESA Season 7. We just witnessed a massive upset with Tracker Clan barely able to squeeze their way onto Molotov Gang, able to exploit the inconsistencies of Molotov Gang very well. Despite Molotov Gang having a very strong attack, it just wasn't enough. For this next match, we have Crown Zero versus Wii Sports. Let's take a look at those standings, because I believe Molotov Gang has actually dropped their standing a bit, if I'm not mistaken here. Actually, so far, looking the same, but now Molotov Gang in the fourth place position, or in the third place position here, somehow managing to move up, but Tracker Clan now actually in first place positioning, which I wouldn't have expected it to have such an impact, but still, that's troublesome, as with losing this match, Molotov Gang is in position to get overtaken here and possibly eliminated if Underrated Esports, Crown Zero, and MDF really step up their game. I really wouldn't have expected them to have lost that, but I hope they stay consistent in the future, because they're going to need it for this next matchup. But with that being said, let's take a look at this map bans as the teams are ready. So we're going to cut it short for the pregame and get straight into the match. We will be playing on Clubhouse this time around. That will be on the attack. We have, I believe it is Crown Zero starting the attack for us, with Wii Sports on the defense. And yeah, So we're going to have a bit of a more common map here. So nothing too crazy. And I believe we are ready. So we will be moving on to the biker gang map of Clubhouse here. Fun fact, this map is actually based off of or a raid that happened in the United States. It was associated with a cult, I believe, actually, that had went very wrong. Actually, I might be thinking of Oregon. I might be completely wrong. Yeah, that's Oregon. I don't think that's Clubhouse. But regardless, these maps do have some history behind them, but Clubhouse is not going to be one of those maps. It's been so long since I played Siege. I'm starting to forget my Siege history. That's quite sad. But we will start off with a pretty basic ban here with Wii Sports opt to get rid of Ying. Ying is a very annoying operator, and we've seen a little bit of that annoyance for Tracker Clan when we saw a Ying spam up main stairs. So not surprising we're going to see that off the board, as well as a Finka. So hopefully we'll have some closer team play there with Finka off the board. No, individuals kind of running around getting a free res without having their teammates close by. So at least for Crown Zero, they're going to have to be a bit closer here. But with it being their ban, I'm guessing we're expecting a little bit of kind of all-around individual plays from Wii Sports. We'll see if that ends up being the case. We will see a Wamai ban, which I'm about 50-50 on the ban. I wonder. Let's see if we can get the stats pulled on what the ban rates are for Wamai. I do believe it has been on the higher end for him, but I could be mistaken. I haven't been seeing him as much, but considering how many of the sites do rely on having a lot of utility kind of cut off and make sense, just got word that actually this is the first time that we have ever seen Wamai actually banned, at least on this map. So yeah, no, like I said, not a very common ban, but I mean, hey, if Wii Sports thinks they can go without it, if they play as aggressively as I am suspecting they are to do, which Crown Zero did call that out with their Finka ban, I think we could definitely expect something special here as far as how Wii Sports plays this out on defense. And with a very roam-heavy setup, this is going to be really interesting because it seems like Crown Zero is kind of tracking what Wii Sports is going to be trying to do here. And the very composition that I was predicting seems to be just that. We have Soul as Valkyrie, Mozzie, Vigil, a very Nitro and roam-heavy composition here, especially with Fesk on the Vigil. You don't see Vigil a lot anymore because of how the meta has shifted. He's not very strong. There was a point where he was extremely strong, but that time has been long gone. It's kind of weird with Vigil. He tends to be kind of either really strong or really weak, and so far he's been showing to be kind of weak, although I don't have the current season data for the Platinum Up rank matches. Oh, but we will see a counter spawn peek from Jonas, able to take Afla out very early on. An aggressive spawn peek from Jim, not paying off at all here. And that's going to be a Nitro gone. There's going to be drone control gone. And another one, as we'll see 5. Ram able to take Valkyrie out as well. Swinging themselves to death. Playing very, very aggressively here. But Crown Zero is not screwing around. Calling out all of these aggressive plays that Wii Sports is trying to do, and they are getting obliterated for it. I mean, we're not even a minute into the round, and we already have 2 defenders that are now down, and it looks like they're still trying to double up on playing aggressively here, despite these surmounting losses. Although, we do have Vigil back onto site, so they may have kind of curbed it just a little bit. Trying to get that hatch open, but so far not being successful as impacts go out to try to stall this out as much as possible, but I don't think this is going to go on forever as Ibana still has plenty of charges. And 5 picking up a double kill, taking yet another down blue stairs. And is he going to take another? That's a triple kill. Oh, no, sorry, that's going to be Sledge taking another. And it's now already a 1v5, getting flushed out thanks to Jonas with his double kill for a flawless round. What is going on here? Wii Sports, are you guys okay? I mean, this is another top dog in the standing, kind of giving to the other team. I guess Christmas came early because the gift keeps on giving with Wii Sports pretty much taking unnecessary fights and giving Crowd Zero essentially a free round before they really have to set up or execute. way too much aggression. Tone it down there. I like the initiative, but it's not paying off. Let's not do that again. But we are going to move on. We're still going to see we are going to see a similar amount of emphasis on nitros, as now we actually have even more with Fest on the board, and we have 4 nitros on the board and 1 shield. Opting for a little less of that hard utility, as the only thing they've really got is a deployable shield and a mirror, and opting instead for a very heavy kind of, you know, I would say kind of set up and execute denial with the bandit, the mirror, and the warden. They're putting a heavy emphasis on curbing and execute here, and that warden could be a thorn for Crown Zero here, with Jonas and Spyro both having smokes. Throwing those out with the warden still on the board could be very risky business here. But who knows, if Wii Sports continues to just over-aggress like they did last round, we could just see Fesk outright get eliminated here. We are going to witness a standard cash hold here, trying to stall that out with a CCTV electrified wall. Interesting that that's what they use their electricity for, but they could be instead going to actively trick Jacuzzi and then use those two to hold that off, which can work, as they do have players all the way over by Jim's side. But that's not even Bandit, though. Bandit's all the way on Eastern Stairs, and with the wall inevitably going to get open, he's not going to be able to continue to hold things off. And with Monty all the way on Raptor Stairs, they're going to be able to easily get that open, and just Duet able to take Jonas out from below. He's going to be able to stand his ground here by Red Stairs, but it's going to be a piece of work. However, we will see Thermite just walk in, able to take him. I was kind of scared with Monty not giving that live feed information, but still able to take it anyway. But with Alpha still below, and with no Nitro in hand, could be a possible flank that could cause trouble here. And with Spyro not able to spot him out, that could be a massive problem. Nitro does go out. Not going to be able to catch anyone here this time around. Five going to try to put down some fuse charges. Get rid of a lot of utility here. That could be huge in giving a better setup. But going to get shot out. Not going to be able to put that down. Might want to rotate somewhere else to try to put that down. Maybe a hard wall. All right, now we got Nixon walking up to the mirror. Going to be able to pop that construction mirror. That's going to be huge for holding that construction control. However, Fesk will be able to contest Spyro, able to outright get rid of him. And that's just going to leave only Nixon and Five remaining with very little to work with here. Quavery going to be able to take Five out all the way from Logi. Now it's all up to Nixon, who's trying to run for dear life out of the breach. But Frost is not giving up. She is unrelenting as Quavery takes Nixon out, running out from the breaches. Or Monty doesn't really have a lot of options there now, does he? Nothing scarier than being a cornered Monty, and that's exactly what was the fate there for our dear friend Monty, unfortunately. And so now we move on to Basement and Church as Wii Sports takes their first round, not giving Crown Zero whatever the first round was. Yikes. But with Basement, they have a second chance to take the round that originally should have been theirs. At least I would have believed. But man, they gave so many lives to Crown Zero. That was insane. Just wait a few seconds, and they did that, and it worked pretty well. I mean, they completely crippled Ground Zero when it came to construction. That chokehold was contested from the second they walked in to the second that Monty fled all the way out to CCTV. That it was never really a controlled grounds. Even with getting the mirror open, it just fell apart so fast. And I fear that there might be a similar situation here for Crown Zero here, but hard to say as we're still seeing, actually we are now seeing a more passive setup than what we had before. 2 Nitros on the board, Goyo and Azami gonna be actually stalling this out. Wii Sports really slowing it down from what they tried to do in the first round here, so good for them, and I think that they can really make some good impact out of this. However, with the player over by Blue Stairs, could possibly get spotted out here, does do some damage onto Grim. Gonna be able to get out of there with a lot of free damage onto Grim. Gonna make finishing off just a little bit easier by Blue Stairs, because heavy wall bangs or wall banging out the wazoo in that area is quite common. And our overlay bugging out a little bit. I don't know what that was over in Tunnel, but Regardless, still trucking on. Oh, there's one by the window. If he pre-fires that, it's over. Alpha going for the swing, able to catch Jonas over by the Logi Hat's drop there. That's going to be a loss onto Jackal, and that's going to give a lot more free reign for a Roam. 5 able to catch Alpha above. Tries the Nitro out for impact, trying to deny this hatch. But remember, like I said, when you're using 2, you really can't stall it forever. So I'm very surprised they're even trying to do this. That wall is inevitably going to get open. Now, if you have a Caden pair, yes, you can get that open. But now with 8 in hand, all the impact's gone. They're going to be able to get that open. And that's a huge detriment to Wii Sports, because with Ground Zero having a Monty, that means less explosives to deal with Monty. All you've got is a Nitro, and after that, you better pray that you can pinch him off. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. However, we are going to see Nixon actually able to pistol whip out Quavery here, making things just even more difficult when you have an opening with a Monty player. However, Best will be able to take care of Fleek here, finishing the job off him from previously over by the main, or these west stairs here. Still not looking the best for Wii Sports, as Crown Zero is right at their doorstep. But with 55 seconds on the clock, they still have a lot of time to make their moves. Smoke now going down, trying to cut off that mirror. However, there comes the Nitro. Almost catches 5 here. Does deal some serious damage, but barely able to walk away. Duet taking this gap in the positioning Crown Zero to take out Nixon. Huge thorn on Wii Sports side. Now dealt with. 30 seconds on the clock. Trying to make something happen. 5 just continuing to pre-fire where Phantom walks straight into that. 23 seconds left on the clock. It's now up to Spyro and 5 and tried to walk in. However, Doc still holding out by Tunnel. Knows this one there. Jumps up to pre-fire. Is able to take out Spyro. Now up to 5. Trying to take over Church, but is unsuccessful as Jet finishes the job for Wii Sports to pick up their second round. Playing very cleanly there. Didn't see a lot of Goyos Goyo cancers going off as I'd expected, but honestly, they did a lot of damage onto Crown Zero there on their setup. So can't say that was the most unexpected thing.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Alright, now moving on to first floor. Interestingly enough, they still had a second floor site, but still going to go for that. We will see Jet on the Echo here, which I have a problem with Echo players. I don't have a problem with Echo. I have a problem with Echo players. Because how you often see Echo players is that they will pre-place their Echoes onto site and wait till the absolute last second to try to shoot out the diffuser and concuss them to win the round in like the cheesiest way to win on Earth. But the problem is a lot of teams are now familiar with that. They'll either snuff out Echo and kill them outright before that even happens, or they will find these Echoes before and execute before that concussion can really do the work. So I generally am against using Echo like that. I say use it like an attacking drone, because you can concuss, you can hide it, you can basically allow roamers to just go absolutely ballistic, especially when you put one of those Echo cams all the way by Strip Club. You can pop the hatch and jump it over, but I don't think anyone's prepped it for him to do that, so they're not going to be able to get information on the outside. That was a Pro League strat that was actually featured not too long ago. We do have a spawn peak that's been spotted. Spiral still going down, as well as Fleek able to take Alpha in the process. Best still waiting. Quavery going to be able to take 5 as there's a player stuck in the corner there. Spawn peaks coming out with West Sports coming out on top with a person advantage, able to take out 2 critical players here in the composition, and that's going to be Spyro and 5 with their top frag down, their hard breach out of the way. They still got Nixon with the ace, but that's still just going to make things even more tougher. However, Fleek going to come back despite that, able to get Jet out. That's going to be their Echo player down, and now with Fleek right next to Sight and with Diffuser, there's only one player in bar. They get rid of this bar player, we could possibly just see a walk-in to go for a plant. Quavery trying to contest it, but honestly, I would be really nervous if I were Wii Sports. Being right at the doorstep is not a good situation, especially with Jonas now over by pool table. Quavery is kind of cornered here. she's going to need some help if she wants to continue to deny this. But with Mira on the way, going to break above the Jackal player, that's going to make things a little bit better, or someone else does. But Phantom taking full advantage of the situation, going to be able to take Nixon, and now will be able to hold that pool table area, but still not opting to do that, which means that Jackal is still a consistent presence threat to Quavery here, getting pushed out from bathroom, taking heavy damage. She's got to have to fall back, and this could create a bad opening. However, Fleek able to take a triple kill, finishing out Fesk as well. It's now up to Quavery and Phantom. And with Phantom off the board, Quavery at 1 HP, they know exactly where she is by main stairs. This is not looking good for West Sports. Fleek now going for the plant, trying to go for a headshot, but Janice will be able to finish out Quavery by the stage area. First floor site, it's a tough hold, especially when you don't have the backup. I mean, Quavery was fighting for her life for the longest time, and the cavalry just never arrived, pretty much putting her in an unwinnable situation, despite holding off Osa for the longest time for when she tried to get ready for a plant. But like I said, the help just never came, and it clearly shows. They had a two-person lead, but they left site completely open and invested too heavily on the vertical when there was really no pressure there. Not really playing around the attackers' play. Ground Zero taking that round, even with a rough start. That's why I say it's never really over until all players are gone or the timer runs out. There's always a chance, especially with a game that can turn around as quickly as a game of Rainbow Six Siege. So good on Ground Zero to not give up and still continue to push on, truck on, and like I said, managed to take a round here. We will be moving on to gym and bedroom here. A little bit of a more standard site here for West Sports, as first floor clearly did not pay off there. I'm still curious that they didn't choose to go for CCTV, but considering that has been beaten like a dead horse, I mean, it makes sense. Doesn't look like West Sports is going to be really going for a run out, but we will have Nixon already out the gate, starting to push into Logi here. And with no real player over by Logi other than Fesk, they're going to be able to immediately walk up. However, Alpha will be able to deny Jonas all the way from tunnel, trying to creep in, but for that roam clear, but Alpha's not having any of it. But they still have that Rafters control, as there's no one playing in Rafters, with Nixon able to freely position himself out there, trying to get rid of that construction wall. Gonna be jammed there. They're gonna have to be a little bit more funneled here, and with Nixon starting to push on into main lobby right now. I'm worried he might be overextending here, but will begin to make his way up red stairs, which could be huge in getting some much needed control into cash room. Still kind of on his own though, but yeah, kind of on his own with no real teammates on his side right now. He's pretty much all alone, just trying to push all the way into cash. They do have a lot of info for him, but there's really no gun behind the shield here. And once they realize that, it's going to get real nasty. But he has created a lot of phantom pressure, as they've pretty much fallen off construction entirely. And has on top of that cut them off. Here's a problem. They still got Jet all the way by bar, and once they start to make their way up on the flank, if they're able to, it's going to spell a real problem. But Fleek able to cut off Mozzie from stairs, as well as 5 taking Jet out. That flank is now no longer an option, as Monty is not going to be contestable from the rear. And with him still holding his ground, it's going to be a matter of time as they reconvene the progress they've already made. And they're going to do just that. Now securing that cash position, starting to contest construction with Fleek. The mirror down. Are we going to see a replay of last time they tried to attack this? I don't think, or I think so, as Phantom will be able to take 5 out. Still contesting bedroom, but Nixon has pushed all the way up to bedroom here. Nitro going to go out, shield back up. Barely going to be able to survive that 50 HP, but Quavery able to take a nice shot from the sidelines with Phantom to fish out Nixon. It's another replay of the last time they defended this side, where Crown Zero just not able to push out construction. Construction is the bane of Crown Zero's existence right now, as they have yet again been unsuccessful in pushing out beyond that room. It is a death trap for them, and Wii Sports knows that well and takes full advantage of it, leading to Crown Zero, or Wii Sports yet again taking another round. off of the site. Now going to be moving back onto basement here. Last time, I believe it was it was a bit rough in trying to get the execute going for Crown Zero, so we could see a 2-4 situation, 4-2 in favor of Wii Sports here, if they are able to kind of hold them off like they did last round. But the thing is that I'm starting to notice is that while Crown Zero has a weak execute, they're very good at clearing out and roam clearing. They've done this very well. But the second that it comes down to pushing beyond that, they just get picked off one after another. It's always a gap that Wii Sports is either able to create or exploit, and Ground Zero just rapidly drops numbers at that point. So I think this is going to be the problem for them to even this out. And quite frankly, I'm not confident that will be the case here. As right now, Crown Zero just has not really shown their ability to really execute. It more just comes down to, you know, flushing out Wii Sports from, you know, just kind of being overly aggressive. That's really just what they're doing. Their roam kind of comes out too much, and then when the roam's gone, anchors aren't really able to pick it back up, and that's how Crown Zero gets those rounds. And I think we're going to see a similar situation. The yellow ping's coming out, the run out from Alpha, but he's going to know exactly where he is thanks to that run out. Tries to pre-fire, not going to be able to catch Alpha, but with another one by the window, Alpha going to take a lot of damage with Jonas right on his tail, as well as another player, 2 drones. Ow, Alpha is stuck here, tries to take one with him, but is unsuccessful as Fleet fishes out Alpha. Great team play and coordination from Crown Zero to completely cut him off and give Alpha no chance of escape, at least not without wasting the nitro to jump down the gym hatch. But even then, how good would that have done you when they're right on your tail with such veracity? So far, 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining, and Crown Zero still has a lot of setup to do. Still trying to get that hatch open, but those impacts, they're going to be stalling a massive amount of time, but with Shield still on the board, still going to be a problem. Fleek able to take one in the process. Fest disconnecting, don't really know what happened there. Jet going down as well, and now we're seeing a turnaround for Crown Zero to even this out on a 3-3, as we have now seen multiple losses clearing out and pushing their way in. The aggression from Wii Sports not really paying off here, as now it is all up to Quavery and Phantom. But this is what I've been talking about. They tend to struggle on this execute and get punished as they get ready to try to jump down. And I think we're going to see that in just a second, as long as Quavery doesn't really push out too much, which so far she has kind of extended pretty far. The nitro going out, going to be able to catch Phantom, as he is not able to back out and instead tries to push the corner to get out. The Goyo coming out, but Monty still forces his way through, but not without taking massive damage. Gonna have that information on where Lucy is, but despite that, Quavery's still able to pick up one by the hatch. However, still thrown, able to take one. James able to take the other, pushing down through main stairs, and Memorial to finish the job. Quavery really on the struggle bus, trying her best, but her best won't do. As now we go to the swap, the 3-3 split. Crown Zero really locked it up on their attack. That was a very well-tuned execute, from cutting off Afla to getting a lot of impact off their vertical to their execute, and not really giving too many or too much rounds. And when they lost players, still making a major strides. And Nixon not you know, trying to take a gunfight when he didn't have to, just using his shield for information and pushing Quavery into a tough corner there. For once, that shield really paid off there for Crown Zero, at least in securing that round and making sure that nothing goes awfully wrong, because Quavery was, for a hot minute, popping off there. But thanks to the shield kind of putting her in the corner, they were able to shut it down, especially thanks to the flank from Jackal there all the way in Memorial. Just kind of helped to, you know, close the gap and give Quavery nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But that's the attack and defense closed out, as we now move on to the swap with Wii Sports on the defense, or I'm sorry, on the attack, and Crown Zero now on, or the defense. Did I just say defense twice? I feel like I did. But Anyway, regardless, now on swap, gonna be starting an early push onto CCTV cache by getting that wall open. Looks like we'll be also there's only one wall reinforced on Jacuzzi. Crown Zero? You good? Was that on purpose? I don't think it was. I think someone forgot to reinforce something, as they still have 3 reinforcements available. But regardless, Jacuzzi wall now open. They do have all of the openings they need to make a move. 5 taking a lot of damage, as well as Fleek just trying to hold off their positions, but starting to slowly lose control of these walls. Now open, Fleek swinging out to take Alpha out in the process. That roam starting to pay off a little bit, or a little bit of that lurk. However, Fesk trying to hold and cut off main, but is barely just gonna miss Fleek, who does manage to get away. The barricade just barely concealing her movement there. Very unfortunate for getting a refrag, at least for Crown Zero, or I'm sorry, for Wii Sports. That is not going to be happening. Now starting to see some more roamers trying to recontest Cash and CCTV. As so far, Wii Sports has not really taken any space here, just trying to keep themselves alive, but not doing that too well either, as Quavery sustaining a lot of damage here, and so far still no actual movement into the building, as so far I believe everyone is still outside except for Quavery, who has gotten into CCTV, and Fest now rotating out from kitchen side, not really spotting out any roamers here. Minute left. They're going to try to convene and get a push going, but so far with Quavery kind of cut off here from the rest of the team, we're looking at a 3v5 situation that isn't going to be ending too well here. Although Fire will hold off Red Stairs enough to take a raw fight with Nixon, I don't think this is going to go well here. Jet able to take Fleek as well as Quavery getting Nixon. The fights will go in their favor as they do get a little bit more control, but another player over by Red Stairs. Quavery's going to be out, but Phantom able to clear out sight. Now going to be in prime position to try to plant here. Phantom now doing just that, and with Janice taking out Quavery, he's now stuck over in CCTV. Tries to crouch in, but Jet doing his due diligence, able to catch him over by CCTV and prevent him from even having a chance in his long journey through construction for any semblance of hope there. Wii Sports on a very good turnaround of attack, playing it very patiently, will be able to retake their lead here, as now Crown Zero moves on to gym and bedroom once again, despite completely collapsing there. Curious how they're going to adapt this situation, or adapt what happened last round, because they kind of just gave, or I really can't say what happened, because Wii Sports played that very, very slow there. I mean, very minimal setup, just kind of holding on. But once they kind of got their positioning in, they were untouchable. Ground Zero losing fight after fight after fight. So I really don't think that Ground Zero really did anything wrong here. I mean, their roam was good. They caught off a player by stage. It really just came down to Wii Sports just had a very strong execute there. That's really what it just came down to. I mean, they took their time, they prepared, and they were able to force their way in through breach, and Crown Zero's hopeless to stop it. So maybe invest more in some anti-execute, but we're not going to really see that. Instead, we have even more kind of roam heavy setup. We do have Jonas on Goyle, which will slow things down a little bit, but I really don't think that's gonna help much of anything here. Really not sure what Crown Zero is gonna have to do here, as yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot. Jet gonna be able to take Nixon out, waiting for him to push out, getting taken out in the process. Still another player by Red Stairs, but gonna be pinched out here. Gonna have to force this fight one way or another. Tries to rotate in through cash room, does get spotted out here, and now with Prone and 2 players coming after him, he doesn't have a lot to play with here. The Prone gonna be able to catch Alpha, peeks up, but gets stomped out by Jet as he peeps his little head. Now with 2 players down, Nixon going down earlier, it's now not looking the best as they already have cash and CCT control very early on. This is what West Point does well, is that they push together and they are able to secure
Attackers have
so
located a
much
bomb.
control while also maintaining a man advantage. That's going to be able to spot Solus down by lobby. They know that there is a player still below, which means that there's only 2 players, and Westport's taking full advantage of that. Quavery will be able to get 5 out. Now all up to Spiral on site, and Fleek, the last one on site. Fleek going to take massive damage and taken out on top of Spiral, Jim, as they both get flushed out, as Westports has all the information they need to stomp them both out back to back simultaneously for them to pick up yet another round. 3 and 5. Westport's looking unstoppable right now, with Crown Zero just unable to contest any space. Anytime Westports gets their information and they set their sights on an area they want to control, they get it. And here's the thing, though. Westports doesn't really try to push out in tandem with their utility. Or I would say before the utility goes off. They push in tandem. Once everything is set, or once everything's set in stone, they act on their execute immediately. They are very execute heavy. They take their time, they ensure everyone's in position, they hold their fortifications, and then the second that it's go time, they flood in. And Crown Zero really can't handle it, as players tend to get isolated, and Crown Zero is helpless to support that cornered player, as whoever it is just struggles to, at best, take a trade situation. They take one, Westport take another. But more often than not, worst case scenario, they outright lose. And on top of that, they lose control as well. And Westports has not shown any gap in their ability to do this. I mean, they have won ever since the swap every single attack and are showing no signs of stopping. Ground Zero not able to identify a single weakness in this composition, although they do a good job of not giving lives pointlessly. But when it comes time to actually start denying control, Ground Zero just can't do it. They cannot stop Westports. They are like an immovable or an unstoppable force. And Ground Zero just doesn't really have the sticking power to either take these executes in their favor or to really maintain their control. Neither are happening, which means that the attackers are double winning. They're getting a person advantage and they're getting a control. And as defense, you gotta at least deny one of them if you want to have a chance. And unfortunately, they just can't do it because Westports is just too violent. However, Crown 0-5 trying to take some initiative here, but take some damage in turn. Phantom able to catch Jonas as well. A very early pick onto Goyo and a Nitro off the board. Looks like Crown Zero trying to take a different approach of being more proactive in engaging Westports, but even then, still not successful, as Phantom will be able to get rid of Jonas as well, and one of the only Nitros on the board other than Fleek, which means not a lot ability to contest vertical. Alpha suffering heavy damage from Fleek, but still able to finish him out as well, and with that, no Nitros left on the board, and with a minute and 10 seconds left on the board as well, it's not looking too good for Crown Zero, as they just cannot catch anyone, even getting close, but still not being able to. And with Phantom able to catch Spiral as well, Nick's trying to go for a flank, trying to save this somehow, also gets flushed out, and with Jet to finish the job, we see yet another flawless round, as now we are at match point. Wii Sports. Whew, attacking menaces. Crown Zero just cannot stop the unstoppable force. I mean, that stoppable force may be a little bit slow at times, kind of taking their time, but who cares? The effect is clearly there. Wii Sports, whenever they go for something, they get it. And Crown Zero just is not really able to push them off. I mean, they're just not really there in this situation. I mean, granted, Crown Zero is not doing anything wrong. I want to make that clear. Like, they're not really doing anything wrong per se. It's just more like they're not really doing anything to stop them, if that makes sense, right? Like, they're holding their positions. They're kind of playing off of their teams. right? It's not like there's no team play, but they just consistently get snuffed out, and they don't really have a plan to account for Wii Sports' attack, and it
5
very
seconds remaining.
much
Bomb located
shows,
by
right?
attackers.
Sometimes we'll see some initiative. Sometimes
Attackers
we
are
will
moving to
see
defuse a bomb.
some more utility invested in holding them off. Sometimes we'll see stall for some utility to stall an execution, like Jonas on the Goyo. But it just seems like no matter what they do, it just doesn't stick. Wii Sports always seems to have a way to navigate around that, and I think that's where Ground Zero needs to find something to stick. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, as Alpha on the Cali, we don't see that very often, already takes another, already moving rapidly up Rafter stairs. But I think that's really what it is. There's not really a weakness to exploit off of Wii Sports. It's just Crown Zero needs to find what works for them and then take that enough to put West Point on their knees. And they just don't have anything, right? But we will see Nixon take the initiative, get rid of Quavery here. Gonna be able to fall back. They do have some support from the teammates. Nixon gonna be able to take Jet as well. They're playing very close together, and they are really catching them out here on this initial entry, and it's not going well for West Sports here. And another swing as well. I think Ground Zero might have found their ticket here as they continue to punish Wii Sports on their initial entry denial. I think this is the golden ticket here. Find out their initial entry and then clasp on it. As Jonas is able to, Jonas takes Phantom as well. And now it's all up to Fesk, who's in Eastern Stairs, not even close to sight, no diffuser in hand. This is the first round that Crown Zero has won on defense. At least so far, as long as they do not give him free picks here. They are playing really passive here, which makes me a bit nervous. Fesk gonna try to rotate out through the Valk, giving himself an option to take a different route altogether, as he does try to break that bedroom barricade. He does have the option to kind of just push on the side, but here comes a player trying to swing out onto CCTV, but Fesk, instead of taking that fight, will opt to rotate down from first floor. However, that shotgun's going to make a lot of noise, and I think they're going to know where he's coming from and be able to quickly adapt. And we'll see just that. The cam going to spot him out. And with players over by Hatch and drop down now from Garage, however, they do have the information. They know that Jonas is coming, but with 35 seconds, he has to take this fight and truck on quickly, but tries to get information, doesn't see Jonas, and he swings out on a wide swing to finish him up as Crown Zero secures their first round. But unfortunately, they still have 2 more to go. Wii Sports just could not really take any control there. I mean, Crown Zero, they've found their fighting chance, and that is initial entry denial. I mean, you saw the plays between Goyo and Jaeger there, holding close together, and they absolutely obliterated Wii Sports on their initial entry. I mean, they couldn't even get into CCTV, right, without players some cash swinging out on them, red stairs, and losing so many lives. Even when in CCTV, you know, Jaeger was able to take one and get away scot-free. And if they can do that again and again, then that is their opportunity. Because Crown Zero, they know how to attack, but they really don't have anything stand out to take Wii Sports on their attack. Their attack is just so consistent, clean, well coordinated. Wii Sports has a really strong attack that is hard to break through, but I think Crown Zero may have found their opportunity by going for initial entry denial. And I think if they continue to commit to that, they will have a fighting chance. But if they give West Sports that initial ground zero to work from, then I think it might be over. But it does seem West Sports understands that and adapts by instead going for initial entry from somewhere that's a bit farther off, so that way they have at least somebody on the grounds in the building if they encounter this problem with Crown Zero yet again. With Alpha doing the same thing from Garage side, it seems like everyone has given themselves some placement, tries to aggress onto Alpha, but will be able to catch Nixon instead. And I think that's where the game is here, ladies and gentlemen, because now the West Sports is all on, boots on the ground in the building. Ground Zero doesn't really have a place to initial entry denial, and I feel like they're going to be getting flushed out very promptly. We're going to see just that. Phantom able to take one from the window. Fleek trying to get Alpha in response. Is able to take that pick, but so far, it's still looking very rough here for Ground Zero with Azami trying to lurk all the way by tunnel here, which she's going to possibly get spotted out here thanks to Quavery, unless she stops her drone. Does spot one by Blue, but I don't think she knows that there's one in tunnel, though. That could spell a lot of trouble not having that information. Bouncing out the ram drone. Jet does drop down. She's now onto site. She has full site control here, but Spiral coming out from tunnel won't be able to catch out Jet here. Fleek taking Fesk as well. They are struggling on their initial entry. However, Hibana will be able to take Spiral, is able to catch Fleek as well, turning this around. The hatch drop being a devastating turn of events for Ground Zero here. Now all up to 5 here as they have done their damage. They dropped their hatch. Now the plant is down. A very good turnaround for Wii Sports on his entry. And she's going to get caught out by the Goyo. Take serious damage for Quavery to finish out 5. I mean, Wii Sports turning that utility against Ground Zero and completely throwing off Ground Zero with that hatch drop. I mean, sure, we didn't see the impact from Jet holding on, but just that proof that they can jump down and have a presence there proved to be more than enough for West Sports to finish out that last round. Although, finish it out very close, though, as far as that last round, and Ground Zero getting some potential to turn it around. They had their key, or they were starting to get it. It was that initial entry denial, but West Sports' attack was just so strong, so well coordinated, that Ground Zero didn't have much to work with. I really don't think that Ground Zero did anything particularly wrong there. I really don't. I just feel like West Sports just simply had a better attack, and Ground Zero just could not match that with their defense. That's really all I think it was. Because, I mean, they did decent on attack. They made it to a 3-3 split, but Wii Sports just really knows how to attack, and Ground Zero just couldn't really couldn't account for it. I mean, it's hard to when you have a attacking team that actually knows what it takes to attack and is willing to put the initiative all the way around and still cut you off. That's how most teams defend. They wait for a weakness, they wait for an opening, and they just kind of punish that, right? It's not enough when you have a well-rounded team that doesn't have that opening, as we saw last game with who was it again? I'm sorry. With Tracker Clan able to exploit Molotov Gang. That was not the case here. Similar scenario in the sense that that's what Ground Zero was kind of hoping for, but Wii Sports is just too consistent to let that happen. But with that being said, next up we have, for our final match of tonight, we have MDF versus Underrated Esports. So stay tuned for that, and we'll have that game out for you in just a minute. As we go back onto break, we will see you guys in just a minute. Hey guys, welcome back, and sorry for cutting that break short here. I do have some very unfortunate news. Underrated Esports has just forfeited, so it will be defaulting to a 7-0 for MDF. We just saw Ground Zero try to stand up against Wii Sports' well-polished attack, but just could not find the opening they needed. They did pick up an outlier round with a very initial entry-heavy play by CCTV, but they were not able to extend that to the final round, as Wii Sports were able to force their way in, although a bit spread out, to prevent Ground Zero from making that same play. A very well done adaptation for Wii Sports to allow them to finish that out and to prevent some buildup. But like I said, unfortunately, Underrated Esports did forfeit, so MDF will be defaulting 7-0 here. And with that, we're going to go over the standings real quick, and then we will be finishing this up here. So far, standings pretty much remaining unchanged here, except Wii Sports is now taking the top position over Tracker Clan with 11 points, although Tracker Clan still close behind with 9, MDF at 8, And now, because of Molotov's upset, they are now on the chopping block in the 4th position with 6 points. If they want to continue, MDF more likely than not is going to have to win out this next match that they play for next week, unless Underrated Esports and Crown Zero both lose their games again, which is what we saw this week, but still not looking the greatest. However, I do want to point out that Molotov Gaming still has 6 points, while Underrated Esports only has 2. So Underrated Esports may not have the ability to come back here. We'll have to pull those numbers and get back to you on that. But for now, that is our I'm sorry. I actually just got confirmation from the staff. Just wanted to check back. But it looks like, no, we're done. That's it. Underrated Esports and Crown Zero have way too little points. And even if they win, they will not be able to pick back up. So for this stage, we are locked in. Crown Zero and Underrated Esports are eliminated. That is it. It's over for them. Ground Zero, that was their last chance. And unfortunately, they did not win their match. So both of these teams are now officially eliminated. And our roster now remains Wii Sports, Tracker Clan, MDF, Molotov Gang, as they now move on to stage 2. But with that being said, that is going to be all that I have for you as far as information goes. I just wanted to give you an update on the standing since we had a cancellation. I do apologize for that. Like I said, Unrated Esports surrendered, and we are a bit limited on staff. So I hope the production was still good for tonight. I enjoyed casting. I know solo casting can be a bit more boring with, gaps and whatnot and not being so conversationalist, but, we got to make do with what we got, right? So with that being said, that's going to be it for tonight from us over at ESA. I want to give a huge thank you to Bozmax for still sticking with me despite not having a lot to work with. He did everything, production, host, the whole 9 yards, while I did shout and color cast. So it was a bit tough on both ends, but we still pulled through now, didn't we? So with that, my name is Piercing DN. You can follow me on Twitch with the same name, twitch.tv/PiercingDN, and on Twitter at PiercingR6. And with that, have a good night, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next time.